Do you ever get that screen that pops up on your computer that says, for further assistance, contact your administrator?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, oh crap, that's me. I'm the administrator.
All right, Ty, you ready?
Always, Kev.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Timeout. Tyler, who are we taking the timeout with today?
just another good whistle right there, Kev. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ray Myers. He might be the most interesting man in the world. Owned about 9 businesses, 5 successful. Throwing an acting career, ladies and gentlemen. Throwing a musician career. And we're going to top it off with storm chasing as well, guys. So here we have Ray Myers. Ray, thanks for joining the show, Timeout with Leaders. And I wanted to come out of the gate, man, and kind of hone in on your acting career real quick, if that's all right. So
Sure.
how do you get into acting? Like if you're living in Dallas, Texas, and I'm asking for a friend, if you know what I mean, I might want to give this a true stab with pressure from my wife. She's like, dude, why don't you just try? But I don't know how to do it, dude. But what's step one?
You know, the beautiful thing about independent films is they are always looking for emerging talent, which is kind of nice. And the work I've done has been in emerging. I got my start working as associate producer, as, miscellaneous set cleaning guys. Like I've got janitorial skills. You work your way in that way. But eventually I signed up, took acting lessons. One of the smartest moves that I made, my acting coach is local. She is fantastic. And she is, I just blanked on her name. Wow.
Oh, we're good. We're good. We'll come back to it, Ray.
We'll get back to that one. Yeah.
But the acting coach really made
she's Morgan Fairchild's sister. That's what it is. Morgan Fairchild's sister. For those of us of a certain age, we remember Ms. Fairchild quite well. And her sister is an award-winning actress, Juilliard trained, lives here in the Dallas area, and offers private acting lessons. So I definitely recommend her. Changed my approach a lot because acting. We have a tendency, all of us are born, we know how to act whenever we're little kids. We play make-believe and we actually believe we're the person. I'm really Batman,
Yeah.
And then something happens and we forget that. And it just becomes, okay, I'm reading lines. I'm pretending to be Batman. Acting is about getting yourself back into the state of mind where you're like a little kid and you can actually be that person. It's probably the most important thing I learned in my very short and limited career there. I've stood next to a lot of greatness. But the beautiful thing about independent films, they're usually low budget. They're relatively straightforward to get into. And it's usually kind of a labor of love community. This is somebody who's there. Some people are there to pad their resumes. Some people are there for the adventure of it, but a lot of it is just for the love of creativity. And I think that's what attracted me to it.
Yeah. And on those training acting classes, what was like one takeaway you got from it? Like that I would not know that even existed.
It was the thing that I thought my teacher was really good at was getting me out of my head. You have to stop being you. And you have to live inside that role. I think the very first time that I really felt it, I was doing a monologue from an apocalypse survivor. The world's destroyed. I'm the last person who's left, and she says, no, in order to do this, you have to be that person for a while. And so I spent a day, and it's I spent the day on my own. There's nobody left here. I'm worried about where my food's coming from. I've been wearing the same clothes for a long time, and it makes this huge difference because it's like you're a little kid again. You get to go pretend that you're actually that person. And then suddenly you're not reading lines. Suddenly it's like, no, I'm here at the end of the world, and I hope there's somebody else who's alive here with me. So, or it's going to get really boring really fast. So
that's cool. I would challenge you though. I would say that I think most people are still acting, Ray. The ones that don't really know themselves, And I read this great book, The Actor by what's his name, Miguel Ruiz or whatever his name is. He wrote the Four Principles or whatever that was. But he talked about it and just talked about how even in adulthood that we're still really acting out the play that we were led to believe was truth.
Yeah.
And so I love what you said, but getting out of my own head and stop being you. What other takeaways? I mean, you take that acting out, but given what you do in these businesses, I mean, how did it help you in other areas of your life?
Yeah, it helps me a lot with everybody's got this little inner monologue going on. They have the little insecurity, the head trash, the I'm not good enough, regardless of how good you are. Everybody still has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's got to be something really wrong with you if you don't. But lots of times, whenever you're feeling that, or whenever I'm feeling that, it's like, okay, I'll lean into a character. It's like, yeah, Ray Myers may be anxious or concerned about this, but I could be a character who isn't.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always taught my kids, and they come back, kids are the greatest because you teach them that tiny bit of wisdom that and
Mm-hmm.
then they come back and preach it to you whenever they get older. My youngest are 26 now. But anytime they were afraid to speak in public, to ask the girl out on a date, to anything that you're worried about is going to make you look like a fool. The expression that they learned is run towards the danger.
Hmm.
That human response that we have that comes from, there's a tiger attacking me. Yeah, it's fight or flight is natural. But whenever suddenly the problem isn't, a tiger in the woods, it's just, a scary psychological situation. You have to learn to do exactly the opposite of what your body's telling you to.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's telling you run and hide. And really the smartest thing that you can do is blunder in. It's the reason that it's bad is, you tell your kids this and, whenever they've got the speech or whatever. And then one evening it's like, I'm really worried about this proposal I've got to do tomorrow at work. And the kid looks at says, Dad, run towards the danger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
But it almost goes like being a parent, right, of two, and Tyler's got a kid. I can also understand, like, because I grew up in, I got, if my parents could put me in a bubble and my grandparents could put me in a bubble and create this perfectly utopian state because they couldn't deal with, and I get it. Like, I don't want, if I see my kid doing something dumb, you want to like interact and not let them have that, that experience or that mishap, right? But to hear you say that, I think goes counter to almost everything else that society would tell them because it's almost they interject their ego, right? And their insecurities within their own children without knowing it. They have the best intentions. It's all out of love. But seeing somebody else in pain is obviously not enjoyable, and now it's unpredictable. And that's really, I think, to your point, is unpredictability, uncertainty comes with more risk. But I love that sentiment that you shared. I think that's
sure. But yeah, how much of that risk is actually going to harm you physically?
Yes.
And the answer is it's not. And so don't lean into that voice in your head that's afraid of physical harm. It's still very rational to be afraid of physical harm. If, somebody's got a gun to your head, yeah, don't run towards that.
Yeah. 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 That's really cool.
But yeah, nine times out of 10, the things that we say are our worries, our frustrations, our anxieties, it's all in here.
It is. Yeah. And then until I journaled, right? Even with conversations, like we had a great conversation a few weeks ago that really sticks out. And one of his sentiments was do hard things alone. But you almost have this ball of fear, anxiety, and stress until I journaled, right? And actually wrote it down. And then I laughed at what I was actually afraid of, to your point. So yeah, that mind is an interesting place for sure.
Now I'm curious. I want to ask you guys a question. Since, you're the ones who are asking the questions. You got is everybody like this, or is this just a subset of the people? You have this huge amount of anxiety and fear, and you're about to go onto the stage or do the presentation or whatever. With me, the second that I start, all the fear just completely dissipates. It goes away instantly. And so remembering that that's going to happen is a lot of the way that you can kind of force yourself to get up onto the stage. Whenever working as a musician, I hate breaks. But can't we just keep playing music? Everybody's like, I'm tired. It's like, I don't care. I hate breaks. I get back in my head and there's nothing to do. And
Yeah, absolutely.
so,
I think that's
Yeah.
a cool, that's why I always love what Tyler said, action, it's like,
yeah, it's like,
until you
let's just
actually
keep it
take that
moving.
first step and then you actually realize, okay, well, the next step is a lot easier. And I just went through that similar experience, just getting back to physical fitness. When I told Tyler, I was like, I'm sad that that little inertia was enough to keep me out of the gym for 4 years.
Yeah.
It was this tiny inertia, this tiny little fear that just then it became an excuse, right? And then it was just like, oh, I found something more important to do, or so I thought was more important at the time. But yeah, I loved how you put that. If we could only remember what it felt like, those nerves are only temporary.
Yeah. And it's not natural. That's the reason most people don't do it. So you've got to create these little inner monologues that trigger that, or have kids around to remind you to run towards the danger. But whichever one works. So,
and it to me, Ray, like to answer your question, it's in all sorts of varieties of life, like jumping into water, cold water, looking at your freaking running shoes by the door, just like hanging, like they're just looking at me. But I think Matthew McConaughey says it real cool, since we're talking about some actors. He calls it like when you're running for a touchdown, but you're looking at the Jumbotron. That means you're not in the process. And then he talks about Bo Jackson running through the touchdown, through the tunnel, like on the other side of the target type. And you probably heard him bring that up, but I always think about that, because it's funny, like if like the cold plunge, or even just like cold water to jump in stinks until you do it. Then you're like, I'm glad I did this because it's 106 out here. But how do you, like, before you, so you're saying that all the fear goes away once you start. Is that right?
And I was wondering, is that normal?
Well, for me, it's like once I get that first good laugh from the crowd, it's like, dude, it's like it is ripping then. But until then, man, and I don't know why that is, but that's how I'm built. Like I just had an event a couple days ago and just let it rip, dude, and it just came out good. But I think talking from the chest matters, and I always tell people that, especially like candidates interviewing. I'm like, dude, if you've done it before, can't you just talk from that experience, from your chest, and not all up here, and I think, and I know when I'm not doing that, Ray. Do you ever get in the funk where you're like, dude, what is this voice coming out of me?
And I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that from you. That's good.
Which part?
Oh, talking from the chest. I like that.
Well, do you ever not do it though? Like I catch myself, like my frequency or my tone is different when I'm not.
Yeah.
It sounds so bad, and I know it and I feel it, and it's even harder for me to talk like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's the reason the metaphor is as salient as it is. Everybody's done that. That feeling of confidence whenever you're not talking from, up in here, up in this squirrely little part. This is coming from my heart. This is coming from my body. And, yes, there's still thought that's going on inside all of that, but it's on autopilot at this point. It's like, I'm not going to second guess it. Let's say what's on my heart. So
yeah. And have you ever like done like push-ups or anything before, like you speak? Because I heard like if you like elevate your heart rate before you go on, your body doesn't react as much when
I haven't tried it, but now I want to.
It makes sense, kind of, maybe. Like if you pump the heart going on your own. I don't know. I've never done that. But
just not to the out of breath stage, but to the okay, we're moving. So
yeah, get some things moving maybe. But man, Ray, let's take this back to the 80s real quick, man. So you were in Gainesville, is that right?
Oh my God, yes, I was in the 80s.
Was Tom Petty around back then in Gainesville?
Tom Petty was around back then.
In Gainesville, like playing local shops, or?
Yeah, he was. And
awesome.
Yeah, that's about the time his album Full Moon Fever came out, and he's got a song in it where he talks about all these small towns in Florida that nobody's heard of, and it's like, oh yeah, I know. Okay, Brooker, Micanopy,
Yeah, dude, that's so you saw him before he was big.
He was big, but this was this is his Heartbreaker days before his Wilbury days. So
Okay, man. Well, hey, Kev, Ray, and me. Let's get into Ray's career of
Yeah, I
19
want to. Before we do
experiences
that,
here.
can I go back to one thing
Oh,
because I think it's just a really important point. I think we
yeah.
were talking about it. I think Tyler, to your point, until you get that first laugh, that's really I think human nature, right? I think human nature. We are community. And when we're isolated, that's like our first litmus test to know if I am safe. Is this a safe room? Is this a safe environment? Am I going to be judged or am I being judged? And I just love that. It's like that's real talk. Is like, am I accepted in this moment? Am I getting validated? Or do I have the approval to be myself? And really, you test that in different ways. I'm reading a great book on. Actually, he's from the Texas area. He's a lawyer, but he's like a communications expert, and he started doing these YouTube videos. It might be like Jeff Fisher or something like that. But he talks about that, and then he also talks about, because I think when you are in that rhythm, Ty, like you said, where it's just flowing, you have 7 seconds to answer a question before your conscious kicks in. So your subconscious, what you really want to say, if you can answer that question quickly, right? That's really what you want to say without allowing your conscious to take over to have that fight or flight response, right? That am I safe, or do I need validation and approval? And I love like positive affirmations, right? I think I see them all over LinkedIn. My mom's been sending me some over the years, right? But then I started realizing a lot of positive affirmations aren't verbs, right? So it's not an action, right? And really, I think when I have a verb attached to what you said, changing that tape in your head, that's what really drives that action to be able to take that step or that leap forward. So,
Yeah.
Ray, I love what you said. You got to change the monologue. And how many tapes do you wish you could run, old records that you actually could smash over your knee? It's like, I'm done with this.
And
So,
and and a little bit has to be, just that a little bit of insanity, a little bit of, willingness to be different from everybody else. And it's freeing, it's liberating the confidence that you can get from that. So
absolutely. Yeah. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
I
Dude,
say that a lot.
yeah, it's fun being around other maniacs, is what I've been telling myself. And real quick, back to your point, Kev. So, Ray and Kev, the other day I put on Motiversary. It's like a motivation channel on Spotify, and I just had my wife and baby were out in the town. I live out in the boonies now, so I just had it cranking in the living room for like 8 hours. I was like, let me see what happens here.
Yeah.
And guys, my brain eventually, and some of it was semi-corny, right? Whatever. But like there was some good stuff, a lot of good stuff, and probably 20% kind of cornball. But what I noticed is it didn't matter how corny it was. Like it kept repeating in my head. Like it was just like 100 tracks of motivation. and guys, I was like cleaning up the house, doing push-ups. Like something happened there. I just wanted to throw that out to our listeners. Cool. If you're around today and you're not motivated, just throw this thing on and give me a holler at like hour 4. It definitely, I probably look like a maniac, which I'm kind of going for that anyways. But like, Ray, how do you motivate yourself, or have you ever done something like that? And I do recommend that, guys. Just throw that thing on for a whole, and by the way, I did it for like 15 hours that day. I just had it rolling, and I felt kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, no, this is the same thing, and it's a learned behavior. At least it had to be with me. My mom called it second grade syndrome because I was terrified of second grade. The reason I was terrified of second grade was I had older friends and I saw the stuff that they were doing, and I realized I can't do that. They have learned something that I haven't learned. Now, of course, I was 7 or 8, didn't realize, oh yeah, I've got a year to be able to pick up on all of this. But at the same time, it takes an inner monologue. It takes that voice inside your head saying, I will succeed because it's my inherent nature to do so. I will go in and I will either win or I will learn because I don't lose. Makes a huge, huge difference whenever you're getting over that edge. Or I choose to run towards the danger today, because I realize it's like there is nothing over there that's going to hurt me. I want to make it to the check-in. I want to make it to the opening number. I want to get that opening laugh, and then after that, we're on cruise control. Let's talk from the chest and see where it goes. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we had a guest just last week. She said, what did she say, Kev? She said, the day either owns you or you own the
Yeah.
day. And that
Are you
could not
attacking the
ring.
day, or is the day attacking you? And I've been using that, attack the day, because it's a verb, right? It's like,
Yeah,
okay, now I'm stepping.
dude, because the day would consume me sometimes if I get in my own way is all it
Yeah.
really is at the end of the day. I think you just start thinking too much. But once I'm on a path with action, but yeah, just not letting the day own you. It's like me versus the day. It's kind of fun.
Well, I
It's
Yeah,
think you're less reactionary, right? When I feel like I'm reacting all day, like
oh,
that's where I get absolutely drained. But it's like if I'm ready for it, and you have unpredictability and uncertainty, and you're mentally prepared, you can take that on, right? You're not
sure.
feeling like you're constantly stepping off your back foot. It's like, oh, well, I knew this was going to happen, right? And I put on a better game face, right? I think a lot of it also comes with that self-awareness piece. Like, if my heart rate starts to pick up, that's usually where it's like, that's my first inclination. Okay, all right, your body is reacting. And one of the things that I'm really working on this week, and Ray, I was going to ask you, is what are those nudges, right? What are your triggers like? And have you done trigger work to go back? Because you mentioned the terrified of the second grade. I mean, I had to go
Sure.
way back to start to understand why I had certain triggers. But I wanted to ask you, like, triggers, like being and owning 9 different businesses, working with a ton of different types of people, I'm sure, across all those businesses. What Talk about triggers, and maybe you want to share a few of your own triggers. How did you heal from those?
Yeah, I think the worst thing that happens whenever you're doing this, everybody who becomes an entrepreneur says the same thing. They say, "I want to be my own boss.
Yeah.
I want to make my own hours. I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a huge difference." And then they get in and they discover it's like, no, that's not it. This is about an endless slog, uh, full of different challenges, different things. But the anytime somebody brings a problem, an issue, and I don't think this is naive optimism. I believe that issues and problems are inevitable. They're nature of the world that we live in. But given the right knowledge, the right experience, the right amount of time, issues are solvable. Unless you're trying to break one of the laws of physics, we have the ability to solve all of those issues. The question is, are we applying the right kind of knowledge, and are we applying the 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 right optimistic attitude in order to be able to do that? So the question was trigger. It's whenever people come in and they've gathered around and they say all is lost.
Yeah.
This is the end. We will not survive this one. Well, anybody who's watched a lot of movies or read a few screenplays knows that's the moment. That is the storytelling moment right there. Is that whiff of death just before the end? That's where heroes are made. And
Mm.
so that's a trigger to me whenever I hear anybody who says, we failed, we're doomed, this is it. My natural reaction is to completely flip the script. Um, it's like, now can't go along with that, because yeah, sure, you could go along with it. Defeatist attitude guarantees you're going to lose. Uh, and
100%.
let's come back with a fighting chance to win. And it's astounding, this stuff that you get 90% of the job is showing up. Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
Um, that 10% is, where the real work comes in.
I love it.
Um,
Yeah, because to your point, I mean, if you believe that the day is going to rain, right, or it's going to be a bad day, it's amazing how when you put that energy out into the universe, how the universe will willingly reflect that right back. And yeah, it's a opportunist, right, versus the pessimist, right? Abundance versus scarcity mindset. You can see it in there's all these different names for it, but ultimately it's what energy are you putting out in the world? Because usually that's really what you're going to see. And I think it's all
yeah,
what you're paying attention to. And that's why I'm big into that intention, like setting an actual intention before the day. I've been doing it the night before now. And it's so different doing it the night before, because you almost hit the ground running with that intention. And it's just
yes.
kind of that download. But I love what you said.
I know-
Issues and problems are inevitable. I mean,
yeah. And a lot of success people, use that method I do too. It's because I do want to hit the ground running. I do want to know what's the attack plan for tomorrow. And am I dreaming up creative solutions in my sleep? I don't know. I don't care. It's working.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza is like his whole model is really like the meditation to like actually feel what it would like to have that success or actually have your dream come true, and going and feeling it first, you're more likely to actually find it. And I
Let's
loved what you said. I
go
want
back
to go
full
back
circle.
to
That
knowledge.
acting. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I think, and given that you have such entrepreneurial experience, and I was sharing with Tyler, I've had 2 conversations. I had I had 6 18-year-olds. Each one of them at the age of 18 said, I want to own my own business. Admirable. I told Tyler my priorities must have been way off because at 18, I wasn't even thinking about owning my own business. But to your point, my fear is that they don't have all the information, right? It looks easier. And I can't tell you, when you said, I want to be my own boss, that was what every single one said was the reason. And I think a part of this is also with the internet right now. Information, like the idea that I can watch something on YouTube and I know it, right?
Mhm.
It's this concept, and I keep going back to it, but information equals knowledge, which equals wisdom. And you mentioned knowledge right before.
Mhm.
What would you what would you say to kids or young adults that are interested in getting into entrepreneurship? Like because I also, at the same time, if I see someone going to oncoming traffic, I'm going to say, hey, you might want to be a little careful. Here's why. Here's what you're headed towards. I just don't feel right saying, yeah, good luck to you, and today's your last day, right? Because I just
Yeah.
don't know if their thought process is there, right? I don't know if that prefrontal cortex is fully functioning or developed at that moment. But
I can pretty much guarantee you that it is not.
Yes, I think
and-
men are much later than women, and it's not until like we hit 30, I think. So
I'm still waiting on my frontal cortex to grow. No,
Likewise.
a couple of stories will usually do it. I mean, if you have this incredible, intense drive, if you have extremely clear vision, if you can see things that other people can't see, if you have the tenacity to dig in, if your natural reaction to a setback is to double down, is to fight for it even more, then you've probably got what it takes to be an entrepreneur. But I always like to tell a couple of stories, because regardless of what you do as an entrepreneur, you're going to end up with a 2 a.m. morning like this one. Whenever I started, every entrepreneur out there, you ask what keeps you awake at 2 a.m., they will smile just like that, and then they'll tell you their story, because there is one. Back in the late 1990s, I had a software company. We were the very first people to put car dealership inventory online on websites. Before that, you shopped in the paper, you went to the dealership or whatever, but this whole idea of being able to pull it off of their computers that were invented in the 1970s and get it online was really cool process. But at the same time, it was kind of skunk works. It ran over dial-up modems, the things that make those awful noises back in movies like War Games. And my 2:00 morning was whenever I couldn't hear the modem screaming, because I had a modem that ran in my house all night long. Called one car dealer, pulled their inventory, called the next car dealer, pulled their inventory. It's like, I've got to wake up and I need to hear it make that squeal. And if you're not comfortable with sleepless nights like that, if you're not comfortable with the fact that you're going to have some real colorful characters that are going to screw you over badly even if you do everything right, if you're not comfortable with, hey, I want to be my own boss, do you make a good boss? Are you sure you want you to be your boss? Those are the kinds of questions that I ask. And I've had a few people say, it's like, it seems a little insensitive, almost like you're trying to talk them out of becoming an entrepreneur. And I say, if they don't have those fundamental qualities, what I'm doing is saving them from, 15 years of misery and a lot of therapy. Because this is not something that you can train for. It's not something you can just go pick up a degree in and learn. You can't figure it out by asking ChatGPT a question. It's got to come from deep down inside you. It's got to be this restless urge to create, to do something that nobody else has done before. It can't come just solely out of greed. It can't come out of creativity. There's got to be this genuine passion around a vision that you have. And if that's your reason for becoming an entrepreneur, then I'm 100% in support of it. I can tell you the things that'll go wrong, but you won't care. Because part of your attitude, part of your job is, well, I can prove the old man Ray wrong. Good. Please go do that. I'd like that a lot.
That's awesome. That's some sound advice. Really is.
Yeah, I see it in all sorts of things, really, guys. Like I train kids in basketball, and my litmus test, and I'll say it with like a straight face. I'm like, well, Randy, if you can make 300 to 500 threes a day, we can work together. And I'll say it just like that, and I'll just look at their face, and some are like, let's start right now. Or some are like,
you found your people.
Man, 300 to 500 a day. And these kids that don't even have jobs, like they're like 16, And I'm like, I'm like, they're like, and I love it when they say, I might be too busy for that. Like, all right, at least we figured that out right now, guys. But to me, like in business, it's like the first layer is so fun, the creative part, getting the thoughts and your game plan and your strategy. But then the second layer to me is when all that stuff's done, where are you? When it's starting to you got to grow it now and do it the right way. Is that why you've kind of done so many businesses, Ray? Are you more of the?
If I'm being really vulnerable and honest, yes. There are a couple of inflection points that happen in every business that I've worked in. One is when you hit about 10 people.
Okay.
The day that you hit 10 people, suddenly there's some us and them. There's the people that I work with and the people that I don't work with. There's a group of people that I know extremely well because I spend a lot of time with them. I know their family, I know their dreams, I know everything. And then there's those others. And that's when that's when suddenly this idea of, okay, no, we can no longer be all for one and one for all. We could do that whenever we were little. We have got to figure out very specific accountability. We've got to figure out who is ultimately responsible. Yeah, okay, I'm going to take the ultimate responsibility. You guys can help me, but if it doesn't get done, it's me. It's on me. And knowing that you've got the right leaders in a team, because when you are less than 10, you're hiring your friends, you're hiring your family members, you're hiring the people that you knew. And they may be great people, but if they're not great at the job that you've got for them, you're making them miserable. And if you're a for-profit corporation, you can't keep people around just because you love them. And it's hard decisions to make. But if the goal is to grow and to scale the business, then you've got to, step up, enter the danger, and make those kinds of decisions. Because I agree with you, the fun part is, two people at a coffee table. We're coming up with a great idea. This is fantastic. Oh, wait, we've got to get customers. We've got to actually, we've got to hire people who come to work here.
That's cool.
It's like, all that goes with it. So
I think that's great.
When you split to 2 locations, whenever you split to a second floor, that's the other really big inflection point. Anything that creates tribalism, anything that is, has a tendency to create silos, that's when you've got to get really serious about how are we going to facilitate communication, make sure that everybody hears everything that they need to hear in the order they need to hear it. The core processes, the handful that we've got to get perfect, we've got our good 20/80s on those. And, every for the things that absolutely have to be done perfectly every time, we have a very consistent way of doing it. And that's how you build successful businesses that grow from, 2 people in a coffee table to, hundreds of people and hundreds of millions. So,
yeah. And I kind of like how you do what you love. You didn't force yourself. Because like I'm a 90s guy, and I remember back in that era, like my parents didn't switch jobs, man. Like my uncle has been at Simmons Chicken, guys, for like 48 years and just doesn't know any, like that's what he does, and he loves it. But like for me, Ray, like how do you know when to like pull out, I guess, like when you're feeling that part that you don't necessarily like and the part you loved is now gone. Is there any sort of wisdom you can
It
throw
it
on
takes
it?
it takes a lot of self-awareness. I'm an extremely big fan of clarity breaks. Spend 1 hour a week outside of wherever it is that you normally watch. No electronics, no interruptions, notepad, write what comes. We were talking
Hmm.
about journaling earlier. Um, got a couple of prompts that you can use in order to help that happen. But in particular, whenever it's time for a change, being able to soberly ask yourself the question, do I still love this?
Hmm.
Uh, do I love the people that I'm working with? Because if the answer is no, it's a lot of hours in the day to spend with people that you don't like. Am I making a huge difference? Because if I'm not making a huge difference, then it feels so underwhelming. I could be getting the first two right. I love doing this. I love the people, but I'm not making a difference. One that a lot of entrepreneurs cheat themselves on is, am I compensated? Am I compensated correctly? I've been very guilty of, it's like, hey, I will pay myself less in order to be able to hire more people and improve the margin and do whatever, but that's not sustainable. At the end of the day, you got to take care of you. And then do you have time for stuff that's not work? Because you can get all four of those first ones right and look like a success, but you're slowly dying inside because you're not getting the batteries recharged. You don't have the hobbies or the time to spend with friends and family. And so I make it sound so simple. It's just, five things.
No,
Good luck getting those balanced. But the question though was, how do you know whenever it's time to move on? And the answer is, whenever the answers to those questions start becoming no,
Hmm.
um, then it's time. Do I still love the people that I work with? Am I still making a huge difference? If the answer is no, it's time to move on. There are a couple of others. The very first business that I sold, I had to talk my business partner into it. And the way that I did it was by pointing out that 1 month of our payroll was all of our net worth combined. It's time to bring in bigger money at that point.
yeah. Wow. Wow.
And
And
it's
you,
so hard for the entrepreneurs out there. Your first business, it's your baby. You're gonna love it. It's beautiful. It's the thing that you created, and it's the hardest one to walk away from, because it feels like you're betraying your child. You've really got to get that cleared out in your head. You pour your love and your passion into it, and then you'll walk away because it is not you.
hmm,
Um,
that's powerful.
Yeah.
How important is hope and faith to that equation?
hope hope will hold you on through a whole lot of things. It's kind of funny, in Spanish the word for hope is the same as the word for wait.
Hmm.
You can say, I hope for this. It also means I wait for this. It's bad. Okay. Um, and so hope for me is a large amount of patience. Uh, it is a belief that, that things will work out. The difference between hope and faith. Hope is something that's inside my head. I sincerely hope that it will happen, but I have no rational reason to believe it. Faith is where I apply a rational reason to believe it.
Hmm.
I have faith in the system. I have faith in the process. I have faith in my religion and my country and whatever it is that's giving me that. And it's based off of some history. It's based off some promises. People talk about blind faith. Blind faith may not be a popular opinion, but I look at it as naive.
Hmm.
Um, it's too easy to be victimized by just having blind faith. A little bit of skepticism goes a long way into making faith into a rich and reliable experience.
Love that. And you use the word victimization, right? I think, I mean, I share this story often, but I was like, I'm not a victim, right? I had to work hard for everything that I got. Nothing was ever given to me. And that was that old story in that old tape, which is also an interesting component of the mind, right? You can go through the same experience and have a whole entirely different perspective. And that story over time might serve you or not serve you based off of what you're looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
But the victimization, there was also to my surprise, 23 other different definitions for victim mindset, right? Do you get the sense that if you enter entrepreneurship with a victim mentality, that is probably not going to end well?
I'll cast that in even stronger language. That will fail. Um, until when things go wrong, if you point at the circumstance, point at the economy, point at that other person, point at the person who cheated at you, that's only going to take you so far. You got to look in the mirror and say, all right, what could I have done differently? What can I control inside this? The buck stops with me. I've worked in technology for years, and there's a joke among technologists. You ever get that screen that pops up on your computer that says, for further assistance, contact your administrator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you go, oh crap, that's me. I'm the administrator. and that's the way it is with any business that you own. If you're holding other people accountable, then you've got to be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they'll never follow you with any level of loyalty or passion. And I've seen too many leaders that are in it for themselves, that are in it for their selfish and personal career reasons. It's like no, don't go into it with that attitude. Go at it because it's something that you love and something that you're passionate about, and the success will most likely follow. And even if it doesn't, you still loved it and you were passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Better than a lot of people get.
Interesting. Well, Ray, I wanted to maybe go back to maybe a few of your career points, if you don't mind. Like what stuck out to me is like Dr. Logic, for instance. Marketing for what is it? Was it medical and
Yep. Mostly
Mm-hmm.
cosmetic practitioners, plastic surgeons, cosmetic dentists, etc.
Okay, what surprised you in that industry? Like, because when I see like medicals, like marketing, I just tune out so fast. Like, someone's got to switch the game up. Like, if it was just like a dude, like I won't go on that tangent. But yeah, what was like a surprise to you?
I think the thing that surprised me the most. So I had done automotive marketing for 2 businesses before that,
Okay.
and realized that if you are a small local business who is selling a relatively high-end product, you're facing exactly the same set of challenges, whether you're residential real estate, commercial real estate, contingency law, cosmetic medicine is different from insurance-based medicine or cars. The online challenges are the same. The competition waves and the way that work are the same. The fact that the world's innovating underneath you, you've got to stay on top of it. All of that's the same. So it's like, great, we'll take everything that we've done that's helped, car dealers sell cars, and we'll use it to help doctors sell medical procedures. Ones that you choose. So we're not talking about, colonoscopies and stuff like that. We're talking about tooth whitening, and we're talking about hair restoration. We're talking about anything that is cosmetic, because that's additional dollars. The thing that surprised me, I think, the most, and in retrospect, it doesn't surprise me at all, but doctors are geniuses. They're creatives. They're visionaries. They're artists. Most of them are not good business people. There's exceptions to that rule, but by and large, they find the business aspect of it a little bit, repulsive. It's like, no, I am an artist, and I can't disagree with them. I've said a number of times, if anybody deserves a God complex, it's plastic surgeons. They make ugly people beautiful. And but they like many great visionaries, they can't get out of their own way. And I'm thinking, these are literate professionals. They have multiple degrees. They are so smart. And inside their domain, absolutely. The problem that you run into with some is they believe that intelligence will transfer into every field. And lots of times it's not right.
Yeah.
But that was a surprise to me. I was thinking it's like, oh, we'll be dealing with these, extremely rational, pragmatic, business-oriented doctors. No. It's like they're a weird and wonderful group. They march to a different drummer, and I love the beat. But in terms of how do you run an office and balance the checkbook, that's not in their mindset most of the time. So
That went through my mind in college, guys. I was in like financial whatever. I was like, I'm just gonna hire one of these people, right? Like data analysis is not Tyler White, guys, and that's probably what the
yeah.
doctors are thinking. And I get it.
Well,
No, and then that's the smart thing. And I love doctors who had that attitude, because it's like, hey, let us be nerds so you don't have to be. We'll keep up with what's going on in Google and what's going on in AI and what's going on in mobile, and you don't have to worry about it. We'll deliver you more patients. And you can give me a hard time if I don't, because I will.
Ray, I just want to ask
trusted expertise.
a quick like AI question. We promise we don't like asking AI questions on here because it's just you hear it all the time. But do you see
Bring it.
do you see marketing getting just like kiboshed by AI? The first on ROI, like the easiest, most simplest. Is that the one that's going to go
Yes.
first?
Yes, there are a number of things that AI does really, really well. But at the same time, I have a tremendous amount of faith in kind of a post-enlightenment society. Every single time our society has had some great labor-saving device come along, we've ended up working more. We've ended up working smarter and better because of the new tools that have come in. So and when you see people out there who are protesting AI seriously or not, or just bashing it, the questions you got to ask is that like a bank teller protesting against ATMs? Because all the ATM did was, take the human error out of it and the personality. I still love the opportunity to go in and talk to a human whenever I get the chance, and that makes the human happier too. So yeah, we will dramatically accelerate. There will be incredible disruptions into specific careers, but for the people who jump onto the wave, it is just another tool set, and it's the most powerful tool set that we've ever invented. I'm excited about the things that we do with it. I'm not as worried about, huge amounts of unemployment and joblessness. Yes, that will happen. I think it will be temporary while we go through an adjustment phase, not at all unlike, the people moving off the farm to move into the factories during the Industrial Revolution. It'll happen faster. It will be more disruptive, but at the end of the day, it is an even bigger force multiplier than mechanization ever was.
Wow.
Well, Ray, I'm glad.
So I'm an optimist.
Yeah, well, even just like you said, I mean, you put it so profoundly, even with the internet, right? And then it became email, and email, like, who's not working harder now? You have
Right.
these tools to your
and with better tools and accomplishing 10 times more than we used to.
Yeah, you look at the productivity rates; it's not even comparable at that point. Well, you got two sales guys on here, so I have one funny question I'd like to interject: is sales or marketing more important?
I tell you, you can fail if you have bad on either one of them. And a lot of it depends on, the industry in particular. Some industries, it is only about if you can attract them and they come, then you don't have to sell them. But others, it's the other way around. If you're in the restaurant industry, yeah, sure, you can have a sales push in order to push the newest thing that we're going to try. But in that industry, getting the people into the door is more critical than than selling them something once they get there. They're coming to buy.
Yeah.
So it depends a lot on the industry. Marketing is definitely going to be your better leading indicator. Are we getting something that's resonating? Are we getting something that's communicating our uniques? Are people understanding this, and do they seem willing to be able to come to it? Do they seem willing to at least raise their hand and say, "I'd like to learn more"?
Interesting.
So in B2C, I'm going to give marketing a slight edge,
It's-
but
I,
I don't know.
yeah. I mean, if you were working in my marketing department when I was in sales, you seem to have that connection to understanding of what motivates somebody to make a change and why they would make a change. I felt like in the
Sure.
businesses that I was in, what marketing would produce, I would never even use, because it's like, well, clearly you don't understand the decision maker, how they make choices, or what they're even thinking about.
I would say that's bad marketing then. You need a good marketing.
Yeah. Maybe I just didn't have that, because they also get prideful and like, oh, look at this visual. Look how great this. And it's like, that doesn't really matter to the customer at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah. What are you going to say?
No,
we've debated this a long time. Yeah.
Marketing is moving out of the pseudoscience phase, into something that is considerably more reproducible. And, same thing that we talked about with AI. You got a number of people saying, no, it was my job to choose what shade of blue. It's like, we don't care. We want to see how people react to this shade of blue. Your opinion's irrelevant. So get over it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just love the simple marketing is my favorite. Like did you guys see the ocean spray guy over COVID?
Mm-mm.
He was like on a skateboard, and like he had ocean spray in his hand, or whatever the drink is, on a skateboard with oh my goodness, give me one sec. Who did Nikki Sixx play for? Ray, Fleetwood Mac, my bad. So he had Fleetwood Mac going on in the background, just cruising on his skateboard with this dang ocean spray, and dude, it just went bananas, guys. So I've been hanging around doing it. Like the other day, I made an AI video of me like with chopping a big piece of wood in half, and in the background, all it says is Tyler White, no staffing. Like the Arby's, like in the Arby's, we've got the meats voice.
Yeah.
But anyway, that just, and how State Farm went to like Jake from State Farm. I was like, boom, dude. No one knows who Jake is, but Jake's all of us, or your average person.
Yeah.
I was like, I think the tides are turning here. And I just get a little excited about that stuff.
That's cool.
I probably should have got into that, guys. I get way too pumped up, making just simple. I used to make commercials for nobody, like for McDonald's. I would just be on my iPad making chicken nugget commercials, but fun to the point. And I guess I don't even know where I'm going with it. We're on the marketing.
Yeah. But I think that's the art of communication. I think is like to your point is like some people want to add adverbs, right? And they want to add all these fillers. I'm guilty of it. And I was always amazed by the simplicity, but elegance of Tyler's communication style, where like that's not added within the communication. It's very direct, more assertive.
Years ago, I had an instruction manual on creating user interfaces. So basically the same idea. How do you communicate this copy? And it had on the words, it said, remove unnecessary words, and had a line through the word unnecessary. Yeah. It's like less is more in so many situations.
It is. It really, really is. And maybe that's the pride and the ego that enters into that field. It's like, well, if I was a
more words.
Yeah.
That sound important.
Definitely looks more important. And I guess maybe when you had to write a paper a certain length, it didn't matter the topic and they made you write. I mean, that's where I learned the filler words. I was like, yeah, add them in. I need to get to 3 pages, single spaced.
They're both useful skills, Yeah.
I
think brevity is underrated and more valuable. So
oh, definitely. I wanted to ask, because you seem like the perfect person to ask this question, and we've discussed it before, the difference between passion and purpose. What is the difference? Because I'm looking at somebody that like your passions have changed over the years, but has your purpose stayed the same? Like, because everybody uses these words, and I think it gets really confusing to somebody that doesn't really have a view, right, or a future, right? They're in the now, or they're trapped in the past. So when we throw around like passion and purpose, it sounds like something that's unattainable to them.
Passions is in some ways an old-fashioned word. It used to border, its meaning used to border on insanity. And, particularly 18th century, we don't want to be a slave to our passions is the way the literature would describe it at the time. And I think there's some of that hangs over in our society. Well, he certainly is passionate. That sometimes means you're kind of crazy. Um, and so for me, that's what passion is. It's that fuel. It's that fire. Purpose is the direction, though.
Hmm.
Where am I pointing this? Where is this going? And do I have that really clear picture? You were talking about, journaling at night, and I've done that, or during clarity breaks as well. It's like one of the questions is, where is this in 10 years?
Hmm.
Where is it in 3? Okay, in order to get to that 3, where is it in 1? In order to get to that 1, which I'm going to count on as real, what do I need to be doing right now?
Hmm.
Uh, because anybody can go out there and wish and want.
Mhm.
The question is, can you follow that deconstruction step to get what you want by breaking it down to those next steps? Do I have the right resources? Do I have the right kind of people around me? Do I have the right training and education? And if not, what am I doing today, tomorrow, this week in order to be able to continuously move that needle towards whatever it is that I want in the future?
Hmm. Fantastic.
Why are people afraid of the 10-year plan? Like, I'm one of them. Like, I don't know why.
So from a business standpoint, if you're not, some, ancient manufacturing kind of company, a 10-year plan is rough, and there's a good reason to be legitimately afraid of it. But a 10-year target, a 10-year target is just what I'm going to communicate to everybody in my organization. This is not what we're going to hit, but it's what we're going to aim at.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So I want us all aiming in the same direction. I want our energy focused on the same narrow, short list of things that is our sweet spot. It's the reason that we exist. And then whenever I peel that back a little bit, so 10 years, nothing more than a target. What are we aiming at? For 3 years, I like to have a picture.
Hmm.
What is it that everybody should see? What's the image that everyone sees in their mind? So when you're communicating vision to a group of employees, you can't say, we're going to be an XD million dollar company. They don't care about that. Like, what are we actually going to do? What are we going to do that makes the world better, that makes your life better, that gives you career opportunities, that gives you growth opportunities? What does it look like, and what does it feel like in 3 years to be a part of this? And are you interested in that? Or, because if you're not, you should probably go find somewhere else. The difference between a 3-year picture and a 1-year plan, in my mind, a 3-year picture is this image of an Italian vacation with sunny beaches and fantastic food. And the 1-year plan is the tickets and the itinerary.
Hmm. Love that.
You got it. Yeah. But you start with that dream, and particularly in the small business setting, when we hit those 2 people, we hit those 10 people, we hit those 20 people, do they all see the same image in their mind of where we're going to be in 3 years?
Hmm.
Or is it just the founder who's got a picture there that's not being really shared with anyone? You asked the question, why are people afraid of it? And I think it's just that it is a fear of failure. If we remove that fear of failure, it gives us the ability to run towards the danger. 10 years, it's just a target.
Hmm.
It's where we're aiming.
Mm-hmm.
If we hit it, great.
Yeah.
3 years, it's just a picture, but we all share it. 1 year, it's a plan. This is what we're going to knock out.
Love that. That's
And
why probably most people don't even share their New Year's resolutions.
it's amazing. They're afraid of accountability is what I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
Big fan of resolutions, but also a big fan of, if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, go ahead and make it a rest of your life resolution.
Hmm.
If you can do it for a year, you can do it for the rest of your life. So, choose little things that move you in a meaningful direction.
Mm-hmm.
Cut out one bad habit. Doesn't have to be huge.
Yeah.
Big fan of the book Atomic Habits, and the author's blanking on me right now. But whenever I read the book, it was like, oh yeah, this stuff, you've got a whole vocabulary for it. That's kind of cool. But it's chunking away at things. It is deconstructing. It is coming up with the little things that you do consistently over and over again that build into something big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know where I'm going to get in 10 years. I have no idea.
Yeah.
but I knew the direction that I
I
want to move.
love how you put that too. I mean, even like the plan, right, and the picture and the target. I mean, having a goal, something to aim at. But that is the hard part, like the vision
Yeah.
itself, right? But I love the ability to break that down to almost sell the visualization. Like vision equals visualization. Like what is that going to feel like? What are you touching at that moment? What stress do you no longer have? Or I really enjoy that because we've all been in them, right? I mean, most vision statements is like, that is boring, right?
Yeah.
Like, who the heck wants to sign up for that other than the CEO and the stockholders, right? Tyler's just getting out of his sales kickoff meetings. It's like, I texted Tyler. I was like, blah, 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 sell more, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have a bigger year, blah, blah, blah. Get excited about this. And it's like, it's so repetitive.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, where do you get to tap into that passion so that the vision is shared by everybody?
Yeah.
But equally important, how do you bring that vision down to the ground
Correct.
so that people can execute on it day in and day out? I mean, I always say vision without traction is hallucination. There are way too many visionaries out there. They live inside their own echo chamber. They've got a great wall of hallucination around them. And lots of times they'll have very competent teams that are working with them, but they don't have the freedom to communicate, the ability to point out the elephant in the room, the ability to to be humble, to be approachable, to be willing to make mistakes. And I'm careful whenever I offer that career advice because it's a good way to get yourself fired, but you're going to get yourself fired from a bad place whenever you do that.
Love that.
Kind of go in with that knowledge. You need to be surrounded by people that you love spending time with. Don't cut yourself short on that.
I've been on a lot of yes teams. And I knew that was not in a good place. I was like, wait, you thought that was a good idea? But yeah. And then being so young and naive, you're like, okay, well, I guess this is what we just do. We just go along with it. And it's amazing to me looking back at all those environments, just how the leaders wanted those yes people to not have that confrontation. But we're so afraid of conflict, but all great things come from it ultimately.
Yeah. And we're coming.
Conflict needs some rules. This is
exactly.
not me, smacking you in the face. This is you and me developing a trust relationship to the point that if I'm doing something that's sabotaging our relationship or that's causing a problem with the company, you feel real comfortable telling me because that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had more than my share of people who've come to me. It's like, okay, you're not going to want to hear this. And I said, by the time it's done, I will.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's going to hurt. Like it's, but we're going to do that whatever you tell me. So choose that short-term danger. So
short-term danger.
Yeah.
I like that. That's the name of the episode, I think.
Yeah.
Guys.
Here we go. It's very called short-term pain as well. That we really need to fire this guy. Oh, that's going to be painful.
Yeah.
And then whenever they're fired, everybody's in the hallway singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead." So,
and Ray, we are coming up on the hour. I just wanted to ask you one thing. So, like the vision stuff, and you too, Kev. Like you've been doing these vision practices. Have y'all had any experiences with that yet? Because I had one when I was 12 years old that I'll tell you about. But can you share anything, Ray? Like, did you vision something and did it come true?
A lot of times, there was an interview with David Lee Roth years ago. They said, "Where do you get your lyrics?" He said, "Well, I go to a Holiday Inn in Tuna Fish, Wyoming. I stare at the cracks on the ceiling, and the voice of God comes down and gives me the lyrics." That's not true. That's not how it works. Vision comes in bits and pieces, or at least it does with me. It's little bits of shiny things that you can put together. And it's mutable. It's easy to change during the early days. And that's why I'm such a stickler now on, if it's in your head, then it needs to be shared. And I don't care if you got that, on a mushroom trip or a voice from God or Tuna Fish, Wyoming. It doesn't matter where it came from. The question is how clearly can you see it? Can we get other people on board with it? And can we take the steps in order to execute to make that vision into something's real, so it's not just your hallucination.
Do you feel like you have to be in the present now, right, in order to pick up on those shiny objects, or do you get it more from reflection?
I wish I were better at being in the now. That's a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
It's the reason I have quite a few rituals around it, because no, I'm a futurist. It's like I always want to see what's, what is the next thing that's coming. And, if I could go back and make my life a better place, it would be spending more time reflecting on where have we been? How did we get here? What was the work that it took to get here?
It is a push and
That's
pull.
not going to change who I am, though.
Yeah, no, but it is a push and pull. I mean, it definitely is, because everybody wants to know what's coming in the future. And yeah, if you somehow predict right and get it right, you're like, yeah, I knew that, even though it's not even, it's pure luck.
Yeah.
What's your
Big
12-year-old
difference between-
story, Ty, before we close up? Now I got to hear this 12-year-old story.
Oh, dude. So I was 12 years old. I was in the on deck circle. I was playing the Indians in baseball, and this guy named Stephen Townsley, he works at Land O'Lakes now. He actually looks like me. I'm looking at him right now on LinkedIn. But he was the pitcher. I was 12, he was 11. And I just remember in the batter's box, I could like vision like every detail of the baseball. And he was like throwing like lobs, guys. I was like, this ball's about to go over a left field fence, and it sure as heck did, And it was crazy. It was like I really felt it, and I visioned like the ball flying over the left field fence, and it freaking did. I was like, but I was like 12, and I was like, who's gonna believe this? like in my head, in my heart, I was like, I'm launching this sucker out of here. I don't know why it hit me. But yeah, that's my vision in like.
That's interesting. I've done it more for like meetings and like conversations, like critical conversations, like what's going to be the result after it, and like not even focusing on the conversation itself. And it is amazing how, I don't know what happens, but like you end up with that feeling and that emotion and that sense.
Yeah, no, and to put a ribbon on it, we're saying a lot of the same things here. Whether you're talking about, the next time at bat, or the dream of where we'll be in 10 years, the process of getting there, it has to start with inspiration. It has to go into focus and clarity, or you're going to be distracted from it. And if you're taking other people along for the ride, if it's not shared by everyone there, you've just got a mixture of good people and dead weight, and it'll get you a long way, but gets you a whole lot further if you've got, people who are really great at their jobs, people who should have the same value system that you do. Those are the ones that joy to work with.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. Today was awesome. This was fantastic, Ray. I really, really appreciate it.
I had a great time.
Good, man. I'm glad Steve Boston introduced us a while back, Ray, and we'll call it a day. I'll hit stop right now. Ray Myers, everybody, on Timeout with Leaders. Boom.
Boom.